Welcome to this edition of Weather to Watch. It is the middle of the week, Wednesday, and it's the 14th of May, 2025, and just on cue with severe weather season, things are really getting active. Here's the lower 48 on a visible loop, which I love showing, especially when we get into the really intense time of year when the light is really good late here in the afternoon, and the visible satellite loop shows all kinds of interesting features. Still looking at this spinning system over the eastern lakes. An eruption of thunderstorms there. Jet stream cirrus blowing across Texas where it's hot today. Thunderstorms bubbling up now with an increasing jet stream flow, and you can see the circulation right there. In fact, if we go ahead to the next frame, sure enough, we have it at the 500 millibar flow. This upper level low over Idaho and portions of Montana. This is the last of that sheared off low, which started its journey down here a couple of days ago. Finally, the main jet stream flow now is getting that and ejecting it up into Canada, and that'll be goodbye to that particular system. If you watch severe weather at all, you realize that a flow that looks like this, where the winds are getting stronger and splitting like this, means that we could have some trouble out here if this continues to advance. And that's exactly what we're going to talk about in a few more frames. On the surface map, we do have an area of weak pressure over Delaware with a little warm front and stationary front configuration. That's what's left of what's connected to that upper level system we showed you here. It's weakening. We have a warm front stretching from Kansas down into Oklahoma, almost into Arkansas, and this is a developing area of low pressure right here. You can see when we zoom in on the satellite image here, so this is Wyoming right here. You can see thunderstorms bubbling up out ahead of this now with the jet stream winds coming in. You can see how much faster these clouds are moving than these clouds, for instance. So yeah, we do have a maximum of jet stream winds right here, and it is going to be contributing to a severe weather threat in this area here. We'll show you that in a second after we take a look at some radar images. Here's a look at the radar loop late this afternoon, and we see some showers and thunderstorms out here over parts of coastal North Carolina and Virginia. So far, those I think have behaved themselves for the most part. And then this activity here, and in particular, this activity here is what's expected to be severe. If we change to the local radar here for a second, this is out of Lincoln, Nebraska. And here's North Platte right here, and there was a severe thunderstorm warning on that storm right there. And generally speaking, this corridor here is going to be watched, especially as we go into the evening hours, as upper-level winds start to increase out of the south and out of the southwest. I did want to divert and just talk about the heat in South Texas, with temperatures commonly above 100 degrees from Austin southward here, especially the interior regions. It was actually forecast to be a little hotter down there, so the jet stream winds will actually be curtailing that a little bit. But of course, this feature will become more common as we go into the summer months to talk about hotspots across the country. So the severe weather outlook does have that broad area of either 1 or 2 level out of 5 from North Dakota straight down to Nebraska. These are the areas I was showing you on radar just a second ago, and there's an idea here that this is going to continue to spread and sink in this direction overnight tonight. And where I showed you those thunderstorms over there in Virginia and in North Carolina, there is a slight risk for some severe weather with those, lowest intensity probability on that. There is, however, an expanded area of now 5% tornado risk, 5% chance of a tornado within 25 miles, right in the heart of Nebraska here, and it starts now, basically, because those thunderstorms were right here on radar and developing and moving in this general direction. And there's also a smaller risk, 2%, that extends all the way up northward into Bismarck. Then we have day 2 of the severe weather blitz, which is the Thursday forecast, where there is a level 3 out of 5 chance from Minneapolis over to where I used to work, Eau Claire, Wisconsin, down through the heart of Wisconsin, Madison, Green Bay included, Milwaukee, Chicago included in this enhanced risk, and then an arcing pattern down through Indianapolis into the southern portion of Illinois, Indiana, and even a portion of Missouri at this point. So that's for tomorrow. So we'll talk a little bit more about that here in a second. I wanted to show you dew points are really coming up to more seasonal values now. You're starting to see a lot more 70s show up here across the central plains, south central plains. And so this is fuel, basically. You can look at this as activity and dew points that will actually get drawn up into the scenario here tomorrow. They won't get 70-degree dew points in Wisconsin, but they will draw it up this way, and then that's going to be left over to work on for days to come afterwards. If you want a more detailed look at severe thunderstorm outlooks, I produce this daily. It's a video that comes out anywhere between 8 a.m. and 9 a.m. depending on when the SPC updates their maps exactly. But you certainly want more detail on a daily severe weather outlook, and this will come in handy here over the next several days, because believe me, we're going to be pretty busy with severe weather through at least Tuesday of next week. We do have a total precipitation forecast for the next 7 days that emphasizes the Dakotas and Nebraska, an area that is fairly dry, especially on the western end of that. And then over Missouri, Illinois, parts of Arkansas, Kentucky, and Tennessee is where the second maximum is. So if you see the purple color, that's about 1.5 inches. If you see the dark red color right here along the Ohio River, that's about 3 inches. And some of these colors up here in the Dakotas are actually getting up into the 5-inch range over the next 7 days. Let's take a quick look at how temperatures are going to act over the next couple of days, starting with tomorrow, Thursday, pretty warm with temperatures around 91 degrees in Chicago tomorrow and 92 in St. Louis. So anything basically to the right of this color change here is above normal temperatures. The hot spot will be in the heart of Texas, South Texas, I should say, not the heart of Texas tomorrow. And this is warm up here, unseasonably warm. And you can see by the color shading that these readings, if it starts to get into that purple range, some of these readings are about 20 plus degrees above normal. Meanwhile, the western U.S. staying cool with that jet stream pattern, bringing storms ashore. And then on Saturday, we have this spread out warm area here with cooler conditions north of the jet stream, with Fargo only having a high of 52 on Saturday. Much of the west is cool. Then we go ahead to Monday. Another jet stream is diving into the south like this, so it's going to keep things cool underneath, but warm and increasingly unstable out ahead of it. Let's take a look at that long-range model data to round things off today. Here's a look at the 500 millibar flow. Today, I just happened to be using the the European models ensemble forecast, so it kind of smooths things out and gets rid of quirky output, basically. It kind of gives you a better idea, especially in the long range. So what we're looking at here is initialized today, so you can see how this upper level wind pattern is moving into, this is tomorrow morning at 12 Z's, so it's 7 a.m. Central, and clearly we're looking at a huge influx here of unstable air. Let me get my pen over here. Or not unstable air, but jet stream winds punching into unstable air out here, so that's why that severe weather risk is definitely out in that direction. And then we'll take a look at Friday. So on Friday, right about dinner time, we have this trough of low pressure developing here. It's interesting how it redevelops, and this zone is particularly troubling to me for severe weather. I think that even the latest forecast, I still insist that we need to take this back a little bit more than the forecast, but this is certainly a nocturnal event here. Again, I reference you to my daily severe thunderstorm outlook pages to get more detail on that. And then as we go into the weekend, this thing settles down a little bit, but we even have a little bit of a jet streak that kind of shows up there in Oklahoma, and that would be on Saturday. But clearly this right here is another feature that's really diving into the western U.S. And if we take a look and advance that to Sunday evening, that's right there. That screams severe weather outbreak to me right here in this area. A lot of details, and the strongest winds are still on the back side of this. Okay, yeah, it's looking pretty bad. And then we go to Monday here late in the day, almost into evening. Again, a classic setup where we have a jet stream flow that is supportive of all modes of severe weather, a dry line outbreak, basically. And that, again, is Monday and even into Tuesday morning. This is Tuesday at noon. This is still a big player severe weather-wise in the Ohio Valley, parts of Arkansas, Missouri. So, yeah, several days of pretty active severe weather are on tap. Thanks for watching this edition of Weather to Watch. It comes out every other day, or as the weather necessitates. Please remember to share this with your friends, subscribe to the channel, or at the very least, like what you just watched. Thanks.